So we're getting a wee bit closer to first startup. Just need to change the oil filter over, and young Ollie here is gonna come out and give me a wee hand. Bit tight as usual. This JZ just seems to suck the filter on, but thankfully it's Muscle Man here. Let's see your muscles. Oh yes, Muscle Man here has been able to crack it off for me. You man. Other way.
Okay.
So once we get this off, and then we'll put the new one on. Set it off, lift it off. No, not yet. What are you up to now, Ollie?
I'm cracking the red one.
What's wrong with the red one?
As the two wheels are off on the front.
So you're gonna change the wheels over?
No, I'm going to put your big ones on.
You think a set of 17s would look well on that?
Yeah.
What colour?
I like green.
Oh, like Daddy's Yaris?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fella knows how to keep me sweet, like, absolutely mint. So with Ollie out last night, we got loads done while Ollie's busy changing the filter, which he did a great job, by the way. Top work. Got loads buttoned up, basically ready for first start now. So here we have it all roughly plumbed in. That's the old wire from the old boost controllers, forget about that. So yeah, there's everything back on. Wideband sitting in. It's just held there, it needs to be calibrated and stuff to innovate. Turbo back on. Use the old throttle cable bracket to keep it up off the manifold. Actually turned out pretty nice. Have my silicone intercooler pipes, basically just because I had this here bend. Ideally I'd like that hard pipe, but I'll probably do that once I upgrade the front mount from the standard one. Ordered all 2.5 inch, what do they call it, Murray clamps, and they're all slightly too small, so once the pipe goes inside I can't get them slipped on, so that was a bit of a waste of money, but thankfully the old setup all had Murray clamps on it, so it actually looks pretty good. Throw that away. What else? Originally had the boost feed from the turbo here coming up and round, and a couple of P-clips along here, and then going down into the wastegate down there, but I just wasn't happy with how close that was to the manifold. Scared of it melting, so I thought better just cap it off and try and keep it from melting. At least then, if that leaks, it's no big deal, it's just a boost leak, whereas if that melts and it's going to the wastegate, it's a big boost spike. So I have a wee nosy underneath, mainly at the new external wastegate setup. There's the screamer coming out between the sump and the chassis, subframe. There's the wastegate there, and then there's our new feed into the wastegate for the boost from the actually on the inlet manifold side now, and it going around the back of the engine away from all the heat and stuff. And this wee tail on this here is just to stop any crap getting thrown up and going into that the wastegate. There you can see our manifold. You see it's super tight to everything, but hopefully the 4 inch is well worth it in the end. And then there's down to the. So tomorrow night, Dee's coming over. We're gonna get the gauges all wired up. He's a spark. Chances are, if I wired them in, it would end up being a burning fireball in the garage soon after I left it. So get him to wire them in for me. Probably unplug the crank sensor or something. Do a few cranks, just checks his built-in oil pressure, make sure I'm just getting a bit of oil around the turbo. Get everything screwed up tight on the oil line there on top of the turbo, and then fingers crossed we'll get her fired up and there's no issues. It's always a fear whenever you're firing them up that something's going to be horribly wrong, you're going to have to take everything apart again, but I'm fully aware that that's probably going to have to happen. So, as close to the first startup, turbo's oiled, have the feed off just to check when it's cranking and not trying to crank it and not start it, just to see if make sure we've got oil pressure. We'll have the oil pressure and temp sensor wired up and the water temp wired up temporarily here, just in the wee ghetto sensor or gauge setup, just to double check what way the gauges are working and just to check that I have decent oil pressure and stuff whenever I start it up. Engine priming. First go. Oh. Something's not happy here, or something. So the battery's completely goosed, which isn't helping matters here. I possibly had to jump onto the booster pack or something. It's this here wee trickle charger. We're going to be here at about 2:30 this morning, trying to get this thing cranked over. So bear with us. Oh, shitting myself. Start.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it.
Yep. Oil pressure lights out. Always like another oil pressure. It was like real weird to start it out, I think. Yeah. Right?
What do you think, Dee?
It's alive!
You really want to hear cheering noises?
It might be tree, you see. Might be tree.
Stop spinning. Oh, it did. It stopped spinning.
Where's the smoking from?
Could just be
smoke
burnt oil.
Could be oil burning off, is it?
Stop.
So it's okay. Bit of a false alarm. Everyone was fine. Turbo stopped spinning just because the car ticked on the choke, and the choke off, and it was running barely ticking over sort of thing, and the turbo doesn't spin, it's journal burn, so no big worries there. The smoke was actually from the exhaust and coming back from off the door and coming off from under the engine and choking us to death. So all good, no worries, no damage to the engine. Car starts, oil pressure's nice. Poor D had his head melted with wiring. He got all the wiring sorted, all the temperature and the battery voltage one. These are all Innovate joules. So that does oil temp and pressure, and that does water temp and battery voltage, and then have an Innovate wideband too. Just have them sort of get it wired up. Don't have the Innovate pressure sensor anymore, so I bought this one. Just not the cheap one off eBay, sort of like a decent one off eBay. Figuring it was just going to be 3 wires, but didn't play ball. The oil temp's working nice. So we're going to just drop Innovate an email tomorrow to see about getting the Innovate specific oil pressure sensor or whatever, like fluid sensor. Then it should be pretty simple to streak the lines through the car. So car runs sweet as a nut, pretty happy. Took us a while to build a bit of oil pressure just from cranking, but we were able to check once the oil pressure's up. Popped the off the oil feed off the turbo, just popped it off, wee bit of squirt on the cloth, happy days, and beat her on. So yeah, we're going the right direction anyway.
With songs they have sung for 1,000